The perfect mix of nostalgia intertwined with a fresh new storyline, The Descendants has proven to be one of Disney's most successful film franchises, completely at par with iconic Disney Channel original movies like High School Musical and Camp Rock. Introducing a brand new generation to some of the most iconic Disney villains, and adding a brand new generation of heroes and villains to the mix, The Descendants is the perfect spin-off for Disney's signature tales and characters. With 3 successful films, the franchise is now gearing up for yet another sequel that's going into production in the fall of this year, gearing up for a 2023 release. But this time around, the storyline is going to be completely different. In this video, we're taking a look at all we know about Descendants 4 and why this movie is going to change everything we know about the franchise. Where did we leave things off? The third Descendants film was an epic finale to the story of Mal, the daughter of the iconic Disney villain Maleficent, and Ben, the son of Belle and the Beast, who are now king and queen of the land of Aradon, which is where all good Disney characters live in peace. However, you can say that Mal is definitely from the wrong side of town, since she lives on the Isle of the Lost, an island where all evil villains have been banished. Isle of the Lost is also surrounded by a force field that prevents these criminals from ever escaping and going ahead with their malicious plans to take over the world and destroy the peace of Aradon. Mal, along with her friends Carlos, the son of Cruella de Vil, Evie, the daughter of the evil queen from Snow White, and Jay, the son of Jafar, is pretty happy with the way her life is going in Isle of the Lost. But when Prince Ben decides to select 4 kids belonging to evil parents and decides to bring them over to Aradon in the hopes of bringing out the good in them, one thing leads to another. Ben and Mal fall in love, and the 4 evil kids from Isle of the Lost decide they're not so evil after all. After the release of the first film in 2015, its massive success obviously led to a sequel that was bigger and better than the original film, while still retaining all the magic that is now known for. Great music, relatable characters, nostalgia, and of course a world full of evil villains and the forces that work to stop them. Descendants 2 showed us a different side of Mal as she struggled to find a balance between the legacy of her mother and the new life that she wants to live in Aradon. And because Mal is still shown using her mother's spellbook to navigate her way through life, this leads to a lot of tension between her and Ben. In a turn of events, Mal ends up going back to the Isle of the Lost, where she is now up against Uma, the daughter of the evil sea witch Ursula. And let's just say that Uma is hell-bent on staying true to her mother's legacy. An epic finale. After Ben and Mal fight against all the evil forces, with Mal managing to prevent Uma from wreaking havoc in the world, the second film sets us up for an epic finale with an end credits scene. Right in the middle of the credits, Uma pops back onto the screen, promising the audience that the story is not over. So of course, it's pretty obvious that Uma does have a pretty big role to play in the final film of the Descendants franchise. Descendants 3 was released in 2019 and featured Mel, Carlos, Evie, and Jay once again as the group returns back to their homeland to recruit a new generation of villain offsprings and take them over to Aradon, helping them become better versions of themselves, away from the influence of their evil parents. Mal then decides to permanently close the barrier that separates the Isle from Aradon, and in the middle of doing so, she unknowingly wakes up a dark force that is now working against Aradon, attempting to destroy the land and everyone in it. Descendants 3 has all the makings of a perfect Disney film with a heartwarming love story, a hero torn between choices, friends who are there to make everything better, and of course, a final showdown between good and evil. The Descendants 3 ends with Mal becoming the queen of the Isle of the Lost as she removes the barrier between the lands of good and evil, bringing both sides of the world together as they learn to coexist. Oh, and we almost forgot to tell you, she also gets engaged to the love of her life, Ben, bringing this story to a quite satisfying close after 3 action-packed films. Setting it all up. With all the ends neatly tying themselves up in Descendants 3, no one was really expecting the franchise to make a comeback so soon. But the news of a 4th Descendants film is definitely a welcome update. However, the fans are now left confused, wondering whether or not we're still going to be following Ben and Mal. And sure, the 3rd film did leave us with a bit of a cliffhanger, but that was all made up for with the release of the animated short Descendants: The Royal Wedding, where we see Ben and Mal tying the knot in the presence of their friends. So, what else could be left for Ben and Mal's story? Well, if you stuck around to the very end of the animated special, you would know that the story ends with Mal saying, "Another story could just be beginning." And while we didn't know what she meant by this at first, now it's pretty clear that this was a way for the franchise to set us up for the upcoming 4th film. Everything changes in Descendants 4. The 4th film is expected to take place in the exact same setting, so while we might not get to see all our favorite characters from the original trilogy, we'll definitely be able to experience the magic of being transported back to Aradon once again. And well, let's just say that with the amount of Disney princesses and villains there are, it's pretty obvious that the franchise will never have a shortage of new villain offspring. As far as Mal and the gang are concerned, their story is pretty much over, and for now, none of the original cast is expected to even come in for a cameo in the brand new season. Especially after the tragic death of Cameron Boyce, who played Carlos, the Descendants cast has gone on the record to talk about how they can't be part of the franchise in the absence of their friend and his iconic character. Paying tribute to her co-star, Dove Cameron went on the record and said that she would never be up for a Descendants reboot since the story wouldn't be the same without the entire original cast. "We told a full story, we completed it," said Cameron, which explains why this fourth movie is being promoted as a spin-off. Sophia Carson, who plays Evie, also went on the record to talk about how the Descendants universe had plenty of scope for news stories to keep popping up. However, the actress also clarified that as far as she was concerned, the story of the original Descendants was over for good, and now it was time for a new generation to take over. Introducing the brand new Descendants. Now, you don't have to be entirely disappointed since some characters, like Maleficent along with Belle and the Beast, are expected to make appearances in the brand new film. But it's going to be exciting to see how they come into the story without their children. But we're guessing this season might also help us take a deep dive into the mindsets of these parents, which will add an interesting element to the Disney universe in general. The fourth movie is technically a spin-off set in the same universe and timeline, but it's going to be a brand new story with brand new characters. The stars of the show this time around are going to be Red, the daughter of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, and Chloe, the daughter of Cinderella. Of course, just like the original trilogy, these two characters come from worlds that are poles apart, with Cinderella being one of the original Disney princesses and the Queen of Hearts being one of the most iconic Disney villains. So it's going to be interesting to see what this dynamic has to offer. An unusual alliance. Descendants 4 is going to start off 3 years after the events of the last film and is going to be titled Descendants, the Pocketwatch. Now, if you know anything about Alice in Wonderland, you would know that the Pocketwatch is owned by the White Rabbit to make sure that he knows when the Queen of Hearts is going to be making her grand entrance. In the brand new Descendants film, this Pocketwatch is obviously going to be playing a central role, and rumor has it that our main characters will be using it to travel back in time and prevent an impending coup from destroying Aradon forever. This entire mission will take place right when the kingdom is celebrating the birth of a new royal baby, and shows Red, the rebellious daughter of a villain, join forces with Chloe, an athlete with the perfect life. And we mean when her parents are Cinderella and Prince Charming themselves, of course she has a perfect life, right? But how will our two main characters find each other and decide to partner up? For that, we're going to have to wait for the release of the film. A budding romance. What is a Disney movie without some romance, right? It was a monumental moment for Disney when Pixar decided to go ahead and show a same-gender kiss in the 2022 film Buzz Lightyear. Despite some expected public outrage and the scene being cut out for a while, the producers eventually decided to add it back to the film, marking a monumental moment for LGBTQ+ representation in the world of Disney. From all we know about Descendants 2, the two main characters in the film are obviously females, and just like the original movie, both of them are technically supposed to be sworn enemies, but end up relying on each other for help. So the fans can't help but wonder whether the plot is also going to be setting these female characters up for an unconventional romance. And while all of this is still just speculation, can you imagine what an opportunity it can be for a more diverse representation of characters? This Alice in Wonderland-inspired sequel to Descendants is going to release sometime in 2023 and is going to be an exclusive Disney Plus release. The film is currently officially in development at the House of Mouse streaming service and is going to transition between Aradon and Wonderland, introducing us to a brand new iteration of the iconic location. Descendants 4 will actually be a musical featuring 7 new songs, so the storytelling is going to differ a lot from the original films. Maybe that's a good thing. According to director Jennifer Fang, the musical will explore some pretty invigorating themes in the Disney universe and will expand the story of the Descendants in all kinds of directions. And we, for one, can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, The Focus, for more movie-related news. Until next time, bye.